This video is brought to you by Dr. Kristen R. Bromley's Guitar Method Book Series and Online Music Academy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kristen Bromley. Welcome to my online academy. I am delighted to be here helping you with playing the guitar. In this video, I'm going to go over slash chords. I'll explain what those are. I'll go through how they work in first position on the guitar and how they work with bar chords, for example, so movable chords that happen all along the neck. It's going to be great. This video accompanies lesson 18 from my Chords and Harmony Books 1 and 2 method book. So in that book, we'll be starting on page 118 with the information there, and then I'll be supplementing with this video really what's happening on pages 118 through 122. I can't go through all the voicings that are covered on those pages, but I'll give an explanation for how these chords work, and it should help you. And then you've got lots of voicings given there in the book. In the next video that comes out, actually the next 3 videos that come out that go with lesson 18 in the book, we'll be jamming together on some songs using some of the more common voicings that we end up playing when it comes to the slash chords. All right, this is going to be fun. Let's go ahead and take a look at slash chords. So slash chords have a chord symbol where there is something happening on the left of a slash and something happening on the right of that slash. What's happening on the left is actually our chord. So this is a C chord right here. Anything on the left is the actual chord. So far in the lesson series, we've learned about add 9 chords. So I could have a C add 9 on this side, an A add 9, a B add 9, some sort of add 9 chord. We're going to learn about lots of different types of chords as we continue through the lesson series. So any of the types of chords that exist can happen over here on the left side. What's happening on the right side is a replacement bass note. So normally when we play a chord, we put the root note of the chord in the lowest voice of the chord. So the root note is the pitch that the chord is named for. So a C note is the root of the C chord. So we would put a C note as the lowest note of the chord voicing that we use to play a C chord. So for example, our normal C chord has that C note that's at the 3rd fret of the 5th string. That's the lowest note that we're playing when we play a C chord normally. So now we've got an alternate note being put in as the lowest note of the chord, or put in that bass voice of the chord. So in this case, it's a G pitch. So we have a C over G chord. There on page 118, you'll see some other examples: D over F sharp, A7 over E, G minor over B flat, D add 9 over A. Those are just some examples that are shown there. We want to make sure and note that this is different. The slash chords are different than polychords. Polychords are written with this horizontal line here between the two. What happens with polychords is we actually have 2 chords stacked on top of each other. So we've got a C chord happening over top a G chord. These are sometimes hard to play on guitar. On piano, it's really easy. In your left hand, you could put one chord, and in your right hand, you could put the other chord, and they're really a lot easier to conceive of and play. Sometimes on the guitar they're okay, and sometimes they're really hard. With this here, where we have the C chord over a G note, that's going to sound like a C over G note there. So that's an example there. But with a C chord over the G chord, we're actually getting a G chord happening over a C chord. And that creates a polychord. You got 2 different chords happening at once. So you want to make sure to never confuse a polychord if you see that as a chord symbol for a slash chord. But here we're dealing with slash chords, so we're going to take a look at how these work. So you'll see this there on page 118. Most often we have a major chord happening over top any of the notes of a major scale. And it could also happen over a flatted 7th. So the flatted 7th is what we have when we play our dominant 7th chords. So a C7 chord, for example, has that B flat in it. That's a flatted 7th. It creates that C7 versus the C natural. So the way this works, and I have an example here. We've got our normal C chord. I've got that up there in case you need to see the C chord. On the guitar, the bass strings are considered the 4th, 5th, or 6th strings. So the 4th, 5th, and 6th strings of the guitar, those lower 3 strings, those are the bass strings of the guitar. That's where we want to put the bass voice. The lowest note of the chord needs to be on one of those 3 strings. So this note, we're going to find on one of those 3 strings. So here I've written out the notes that could be used as an alternate bass note for a C major chord. So we've got our open D string, we've got the E and the F on that 4th string, so D, E, and F. F. And then on the A string, or the 5th string, we have A, and then we have the B flat, which would be the flatted 7th, the B, and the C. So A, B flat, B, and then there's our C normally, our normal root note, normal bass note of the C chord. And then on the low string, we have E, F, and G. So E, F, and G. So those are the notes that are in the C major scale, and you'll see right there C, C over D, C over E, C over F, C over G. You'll see some examples. Now I'm not playing what's exactly there, but we have a C chord, our top 3 strings. We have a C, E, G. We got the C chord. Just using these top 3 strings from our normal C chord, we can put any of these other notes under it. And for some of them, there's more than one way to finger it. Because for some of them, you could actually play the top 4 strings of the C chord and then have your alternate bass, or you could play all 5 strings and have your alternate bass below. So let's take a look at it one at a time. So we have C. If we were to play a C over D, then we're going to put our C chord, those top 3 strings, put that open D string that's here as the lowest note of the chord, and I play the top 4 strings, and you get a C over D. C over E can happen just by playing those top 4 strings, or I can play all 6 strings, finger my normal C chord, and play all 6 strings, because I have an E here or an E there. So you got 2 different options for C over E. C over F, then I can also just go ahead and play the top 3 strings and then add my F pitch. That's the one that's going to work the best. It's really hard to finger all the strings you would need to also then capture this note here, though you could do it and you'd have a C over F that way too if you've got hands for it. So to do that, I put my pinky ring and middle fingers here, and then my index finger on the F to get that nice big C over F chord. Oops, not quite there. There we go. So that's kind of cool. C over F, then we got C over G. Couple options with C over G. We can play our C chord for the top 5 strings and add our pinky ring and pinky fingers here, and you get a C over G just like that. Or I can just mute the 5th string and move my ring finger down 1, and I get a C over G that way. Sometimes it's nice with that one to just play all 6 strings and put both the ring and pinky fingers there. So C over G. Then after G, we get the C over A. So we're going to play the top 4 strings and add in that open 5th string from our C. Or you could mute the 4th string, but that's a little tricky to finger in first position. So we get that C over A there, just playing the top 4 strings of our C chord with that open A. C over B flat works the same way. You just kind of have to reconfigure your hand so you can do that one way or another. Just get the C over B flat. You get the C over B, and then we would have our C chord. So that's how that works, and that sort of thing is going to happen for any of the chords. An A chord, for example, could do the same thing, but we would use the notes from an A major scale, but we also can insert that flatted 7th. So you'll see that there on page 119, some examples of how you could do that with an A chord. You got lots of examples for first position on pages 119 through 120. 121 actually, make that 121. So on page 118, we'll see that if we're going to use a dominant 7th chord, so with major chords like that, it's pretty common to find these with any of the notes from the major scale and then also that flatted 7th. With a dominant 7th chord, we tend to only see these on the root, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, or the flatted 7th, just those steps. So we don't actually see it usually on steps 2 or 6. Not to say it's impossible, but usually not those ones. With minor chords, it's the same thing. We'll see them over the flatted 3rd, that's the minor 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, or the flatted 7th. You could see it over the major 7th. That's not going to be as common, but you could see it over the major 7th as well. So that's typically what you see, and that's how it works in first position. Now we can do these with movable chords as well, and I'm going to use just the C chord as a bar chord form as an example. So I've got it here, the C chord that we would play with our index finger at the 3rd fret. Just using these 3 strings, we're going to go ahead and mute that top string so we have that bar chord, and I've written out the notes and how we can take and find these with that as well. So you got the C chord, then you have the C over D, then you have the C over E, then you have the C over F, So it works just like that. Then C over G, we're going to mute that 5th string, come down, C over G, C over A, C over B flat, C over B natural, and you could actually even play a C chord like that. So again, we're just going to go right on up those notes. You have C to C over D, to C over E, to C over F, to C over G, to C over A, to C over B flat, to C over B, and then we've made it all the way. You could do a C note up here as well. So that's how that works with that particular shape. You could use other shapes and do it in other places as well, but that just gives you an example there. There are more examples on page 122 for how the movable chords work. So hope that gives you some help, a nice little introduction. You got lots of voicing examples, but if you understand the principle and you know the main chord, all you got to do is find where that pitch you can substitute in there, that new bass note, how you can put that on one of the lower strings, the 4th, 5th, or 6th string, and then you just have to keep the rest of the chord above wherever you put that bass note. So if it's on the 4th string, the rest of the chord has to fit above it on the top 3 strings. If you have it on the 5th string, then you've got to have everything voiced above it on the top 4 strings, and if you got it on the low 6th string, then just on those top 5 strings. And sometimes you actually end up muting some of the strings. You don't have to use all of the strings, but you do have to keep the bulk of the chord. You have to keep all of the chord that's being above whatever bass note is happening. You're going to have that going. It's got to be above the bass note. That's the only trick. Bass note stays on the lowest 3 strings, strings 4, 5, and 6. All right, so I've said that a couple different ways. Hopefully that makes sense. In the next 3 videos, we are going to go through and jam on some really great progressions. And when I say jam, I mean you, me, and the band, of course. We're going to jam on some great progressions using some of the most common voicings that we run into, as well as some others. But you get some good practice with those, and there's nice diagrams there to show you how to play each of those. So it's going to be super fun. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And be sure to check out more great content. You can find more information about me and my products at KristenBromley.com. Take care.